Hello and welcome to this build guide for Diablo 3. So in today's video I'm going to be covering the Demon Hunter. So what I've decided to try is the Entangling Shot, Cluster Arrow, Cull the Weak build, which I've decided to just call Entangling the Weak. So I tried some other builds. I tried to use grenades and cluster arrows together and all these other builds, but they just didn't satisfy me that much. But then I stumbled across this build and I find it incredibly fun to do and really overpowered. So the skills I'm using is Entangling Shot and Justice is Served. Justice is Served does it just increases your hatred regeneration to 6, and it says Entangling Shot's damage turns into fire. Okay, so that's not that important, the fire part. And then Cluster Arrow with Loaded for Bear. It says increases the damage of the explosion at impact location to 770% weapon damage as fire. Okay, and then Vault and Tumble. So that's just your typical get out of the way in emergency sort of button, and you can hit it a couple of times if you need to. And then Rain of Vengeance, Anathema. So Anathema says summon a shadow beast that drops grenades from the sky, dealing 5,400 weapon damage as fire over 5 seconds. And what I like about this rune is that it's just really powerful compared to all the other ones. It is the highest gain. Now the only bad thing about it is that the shadow beast will just literally be in one place and will rain down grenades from the one place, so you have to place it quite carefully. And then I'm using the companion, Wolf Companion, and the Wolf Companion, this has been changed in the recent patch, because before the companions would just give you like a passive trait, but now they give you an active one as well. So what that means is that the active trait, it says your wolf howls, granting you and your allies within 60 yards 30% increased damage for 10 seconds. What that means is that if you actually just press the button again to reactivate it, the active that's when it will apply. So for 10 seconds at any moment you like, you can give yourself a 30% damage boost. And the passive, which means it's always active, it says summons a wolf companion that attacks enemies in front of him for 150% of your weapon damage as physical. So that's, if you have a lot of weapon damage, that is quite a hard hitting pet, I've got to say. And next we are using Shadow Power with Blood Moon, because it basically just says increases life per hit gain to 3,303, which is just a huge amount of self-healing really. So let's see, life per hit, I've got already 1,500, so just add, it will just increase it to 3,300, just like that. So that amount of self-healing means that you'll never really see your health go down anyway. We'll come to my gear in a moment. And I'm using Cull the Weak. So this is extremely important in combination with Entangling Shot, because Entangling Shot, it says imbue an arrow with shadow energy that deals 200% weapon damage as fire to primary enemy and strangles up to 2 enemies, slowing their movement speed by 60% for 2 seconds, which basically means they're going to be slowed when you're firing at them, and it's going to slow people near them. So Cull the Weak, it says increases damage against slowed enemies by 20%. So basically means as long as you've entangled shot first and slowed them, then every other attack after that will hit 20% harder, which is a big increase. And then Perfectionist, it says reduces the discipline cost of all skills by 10%, which is always nice because it means we can use our defensive stuff more often. And it says increases your life, armor, and resist to all elements by 10%. More defense the better. And it says discipline is used to fuel many of your tactical and defensive skills, which is, like I said, so it's just all good for defense. This is great for survival. And then Steady Aim, it says as long as there's no enemies within 10 yards, all damage is increased by 20%. So you can see the potential burst on this build, because you get 20% if there's no enemies near you, 20% if they're slowed. They will be slowed because of Entangling Shot. So all of that combined, and I'm going to quickly show you the sort of damage I'm now doing. Now before we do that, I'm going to quickly show you my gear. Now pretty much all of the gear except for a couple of the pieces I actually found in game myself since the launch of 2.0, and also, or I crafted myself, which is just really great. That's why the loot 2.0 system is great. So you can see here 200,000 damage, 1.4 million toughness, 4,800 healing. So we can see here I've got 4,518 dex, which is kind of a lot compared to before. That's a very high number. I've got, let's see, 34% attack speed, 40% crit chance, 182 crit hit damage. This is not as important on a demon hunter compared to, say, a monk, for example. And between 560 and 660 all resist. But with the amount of self-healing I have, I don't think this bothers me that much at this point. And then you can see 43% dodge chance, and then maximum health 122,000, even though the mobs barely ever come near me anyway. Total life bonus for 8%, okay. Life per second 1100, life per hit 1500, life per kill 900, health globe healing bonus 10,500. So yeah, so that's my stats. So just looking at my pieces of gear, I'll show you what I found. So I found this in Act 1 randomly one day. So it's a Vile Ward. It doesn't have any life or vitality, but it's got good all resist, good amount of dex, good amount of regen and armor. Why not, you know? And it's also that extra 4,800 health glows that I decided to keep it. And then I found this as well, Blind Faith. I got this from the Skeleton King. So it says 4,011 dexterity, 501 vitality, because the numbers in 2.0 are a lot bigger than they were in the old version. The stats are all a lot higher. 6% critical hit chance, which is the maximum. And something to do, when you want to check what the maximum possible rolls are for gear, hold down the control button and you can see the ranges that these numbers can roll for. So for example, the dex, it says, can roll anything from 330 to 524, same for the vitality. So my vitality roll is quite good, so I got 501 out of 524. And then it says regen 675 life, and it could have done up to 867. And then critical hit chance, you can see their maximum between 4 to 6 crit. Now, one thing they have done as well as part of the loot 2.0 system is they've made it that these ranges of numbers are a lot higher up. So even the minimum range is still high, which means that the chances of you getting good gear is way higher, basically. And then you say their percentage chance to blind on hit, 34.9%, which is awesome. Now, next, I also got this from Skeleton King. So it says 419 dex, 310 vitality, attack speed, and so on, okay? And then another, like, 5,700 health globe bonus. But why I love this item more than anything is the fact the legendary proc, which says prevents all arcane damage taken and heal yourself for 24% of the amount prevented. So when you see those annoying arcane, you know, sort of pink lines that just spawn out of an elite pack and they start to rotate, in my case they will not damage me at all. In fact, they will give me 24% of the damage as health, which is a ridiculous item. So this is a real game changer for elite packs. And then this item, I crafted it myself just from the blacksmith. I have the Archon armor of dexterity recipe, so I just, every time I have some spare like demonic essences and some mats and stuff, I just go and craft it, and this is one of the items I crafted. So no all resist, but you know, 3 gem slots, decent dex, decent vitality, good life percentage, and also the almost 900 life after each kill, which is always nice. I crafted this myself as well, which is the, you know, just the bracers, and as you can see I got 5.5 crit on there out of a maximum possible 6, which is good, and again good numbers within high ranges. And I found this item, I can't remember where. Now I use this item mostly for the huge amount of dex, but also the defensive aspect of it, because of the fact it gives me so much vitality, so much all resist, so much life per hit, as well as the 459 dexterity. So it's really a nice item, and the 132 intelligence also increases all resist as well a little bit. And then I found these as well. So again, decent dex, decent vitality, awesome all resist, and a gem slot, so why not? And then I found this item. So, you know, you can see there, increases damage against elites by 12%, which is nice. And again, life per hit. So this is where I'm getting all my life per hit from, is from these like random legendaries that I found in the game. Now these gloves are kind of funny. I decided to keep them just because I didn't really have anything better at the time, and I didn't craft anything better yet. So it says 382 dex, 326 vitality, 48 all resist, crit hit chance 9%. Why not? And then the funny extra, it says after earning a massacre bonus, which is basically when you kill lots of extra mobs, you know, gold rains from the sky. So you just get extra gold just dropping from thin air. And the items which I bought from the auction house, which I'm still using, are basically the belt, which is just an old witching hour, which I'm sure I'll be able to upgrade very soon anyway. The calamity, which is a really amazing item for this build because it has extremely high attack speed. As you can see, 1.78 attacks per second. It gives you 11% attack speed as well, crit hit damage and hatred regen, but also this 42% chance to target enemies with marked for death when you hit them, which is great because marked for death basically increases the amount of damage you do to that specific target a lot. And then I've decided to put 130 gem on there just for the sake of it. I think it's a lot more, it gives you a lot more bonus to you than putting on a emerald gem on this. And then the Dead Man's Legacy, this is again something else I just bought. It was very cheap to buy. So it says 301 dex, 189 vitality, 20% attack speed, 9% crit. But what I like about this is the fact it also boosts my Entangling Shot by 7%. So everything is sort of geared towards this, and then just randomly these boots, height climbers. Nothing special about these, just for the extra life percentage and movement speed and all resist and so on. So I like the ice climbers. So yeah, so that's all my gear. So as you can see, all of that combined, 200,000 damage, 1.4 million toughness. So we're gonna go to where I was, and we're just gonna kill some monsters. As you can see up here, I'm doing Torment 2, and you know, just for the sake of it, because Torment 1 is too easy. To be honest, with this gear, Torment 2 is too easy, but I'm just sort of going through it for the sake of it. So yeah. And when it comes to my Paragon points, in case you're curious, for now I've put all of my core ones into Dex to get an extra 105 Dexterity. I've put all of these points into crit hit damage, so 20% extra crit hit damage. Defense I put into all resist for the sake of it, and utility I put all of those into life on hit as well. So let's now find some mobs and I'll explain how I do this. Okay, so let's go into this crypt. So what I do, first thing is, well, one thing that's kind of important for this build as well is be sure to lock yourself in position when you're shooting from afar. I fire one entangling arrow to slow them. Okay. And then after that, I'll try and hit them at least with a couple of entangling shots, and then I will fire cluster arrow every couple of seconds. So I'll show you that again. That died a bit way too quickly, so let me try some other mobs. Now, I don't know if you're seeing these numbers, but they're just insane. So even up close, I'm getting 300,000 plus crits. But from afar, I want to show you. Let's see. Maybe too far, I guess. So you see that was just a random 1 million crit. But I can also get numbers sometimes up to 2.5 million, and I'll show you that if I can. So now remember, any moment I like, I can activate the Wolf Companion and get an extra 30% damage. So let me try and find some, for example these. So I'll pop it, then do that. And I'll just hit cluster arrow a couple of times. Yeah, so it would. So see this, that was actually an elite pack, and I killed it so quickly, it's just like, it's funny. So I think for me, Torment 2 is already just too easy, which is really awesome given I actually found all this gear myself, except for, like I said, the Calamity and so only the weapon, the quiver, and the boots and the belt. Everything else I found myself. And I've only really come back to Diablo since the launch of 2.0. Like I didn't actually play the game before then. Well, I mean, obviously I played it because I used to level here. I got all my characters to 60, but I didn't have any gear going into 2.0. So I do find this really, really fun and awesome. So I'm just gonna, I'll just empty out this script to maybe the next one, so you just see it more in action. See how the potential of this build, and I find it's really consistent and really reliable. And even if like mobs were to actually get to me and attack me and so on, I find basically that, you know, the amount of dodge you have, the amount of life per hit, and your resistances and so on have 122,000 health. They're just not a threat, and you can always at any time hit shadow power, and you can also, you see this, so your amount of self-healing per hit will just increase so much, and your you can always just tumble away if you need to, which means that if you ever get trapped in a prison or behind a wall or anything like that, you can just tumble away, and it's awesome. Now, one thing that's a good idea is to make sure you keybind your you know, so you lock yourself in position to a useful key. So in my case, I've actually changed it to be spacebar, so that it's not a strain on my hand. So I have my with my left hand, I have my index fingers up until my ring fingers on the numbers 1 to 4, and then I just simply have my thumb on the spacebar for when I need to lock myself in position, and it helps so much. You see there, 1.5 million crit, just like that. Now, the thing is, I don't know if you've actually noticed, I haven't actually used this ability yet, Reign of Vengeance, so let's use it now. As you can see, I'm not even really threatened at all by this. Which is awesome, because they really have made Demon Hunter a lot more tanky than it used to be, definitely. And that little extra bit of gold appearing from nowhere because of the gloves I have. So yeah, so I am for all the Demon Hunter, I've tried quite, like I said, quite a few builds, especially with like Grenadier and stuff like that, and they just weren't as reliable as this. I find this build to be incredibly reliable, really awesome. I love seeing the huge, you know, 2.5 million crits at some moments, and like I said, as you can see, Torment 2 is for me an absolute and complete joke, you know. So I will try ramp up the torments, and we'll just see where we go from there. So let me just see if I can find another pack of mobs. See that, 1.5 million crit, not even trying. And the good thing about this as well is that you can, for example, just keep your key. Let me, like for example, let me fight this next boss, and I'll show you what I mean. Is that you can keep firing Entangling Shot, and then just fire Cluster Arrow every couple of seconds, and you won't run out of hatred. There we go. So there. And Cluster Arrow. See, because you see the amount of regen I'm getting from Entangling Shot, I can just keep firing Cluster Arrow every couple of seconds. Just like that, boss dead, no effort whatsoever. You know, win, win, win. That's all I can say about this build. And the good thing as well, because I obviously gathered all this gear as a monk before, you can obviously use all the same gear on your Demon Hunter, except for obviously the weapons. So, or any set specific items. So yeah, that's it. I also randomly found this item. This is one of the old classic tank items. You can see here, String of Ears, 313 vitality, 85 all resist, 423 life per hit, and some armor. But the most important thing about this is the fact it says reduces damage from melee attacks by 28%, which is just insane. So I just keep this here spare. In case I ever do need to become extra tanky, I can just quickly put this on instead of the Witching Hour. So yeah, so they really, Loop 2.0, I love 2.0 generally. Nearly all of my friends are playing the game now as well again. Even people from my free company and Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn. If you notice, my YouTube channel is like covered in Final Fantasy 14 videos, and it is my main MMO at the moment. Even most of them these days are playing Diablo just because 2.0 is really that good. So if you haven't checked it out, really check it out. I hope you found this video useful. I will try and make some other build guides soon. If you have any requests for any classes or anything, let me know. I have leveled every single class in the game currently to 60, and I will be happily able to try them out. So yeah, so thank you for watching, and as always, goodbye from me, and see you next time. Bye bye.